Yo, what's up? It's your boy Currency 365. Hope you guys are doing well. Legends never die. They stay in our hearts. If you want to support us, click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and also you can come down here and hit the join button under the video or in our channel section. And you can also join our Patreon, patreon.com/currency365. And we also have Cash App and also PayPal for support if you want to sow some seeds. Peace out. God bless. Enjoy the video and keep the movement going. Legends. Bye.
Right. Greetings. We're now going live. Welcome to Dorsey's Resource. First, as usual, before we get started, I'd like to give a disclaimer. This video is going to be for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. Please understand this video is not to be construed as legal advice. It's up to everyone to do his or her own homework and research regarding the matter being discussed if they feel otherwise. Dorsey's Resource channel is not responsible for anyone's misuse of the information being presented or any previous videos of that liking. It's up to everyone to understand they are responsible for their own commercial affairs. Dorsey's Resource is not liable. Once again, all rights are reserved. Now, let's get into this. I just wanted to do a video to let you guys know. Thank you all once again. By the way, before I forget, for those who continue to stay loyal to the channel, those who followed instructions and have headed over to my backup channel, even though I haven't posted over there in a while, and it's a reason. I'm going to go into details just to let you all know what's been going on lately. I'm going to give you some of my thoughts and feedback from some upcoming events. I have been still around, but at a distance. I've been doing a lot of research. I've been doing a lot of studying. And for those of you all that know, I study because I have some of you all where I've done videos related to redemption, education, or sovereignty. You know, I don't use that term, sovereign citizen, and stuff like that. I just, I may do another video down the road, as I've done in the past, to prove that is real, but it would take a lot of notes. And I was looking at different software, by the way, that I would use, because I always want to show you all more evidence. You all know I used to have Zoom in the past. I no longer have the pay version. I'm considering purchasing it again so I can, it's easier for me to share my screen and you guys can see my face at the same time. I do have a software where I can share my screen. However, what I like about the Zoom is I'm able to share my face, because Windows compared to Apple, they have other ways, like with the Apple laptops. From what I understand, I don't really know how to use Apple. I hear it's easy. When I was connected to the music industry some years ago, the guys I was working with always told me they preferred, a lot of people in the entertainment business, they like using Apple at the time. I guess some of the softwares and stuff, you don't have to worry about viruses and stuff like you do Windows and updates. But I've heard certain things are changing, so I can't say I'm abreast in that regard. I try to keep up as much as I can in certain regards, but in certain instances, I'm not as tech savvy, and I have friends for that. And I am willing to seek out paid assistance or help. But I just once again wanted to let you all know what had been going on. Well, I hadn't posted in a while, by the way. And once again, I do appreciate you all that have continued to rock with me, that have continued to stay loyal to the channel, that have understand, that overstand the journey that I have been on. And it came a point in time too where it was time for me to step aside when it came to the sovereign information, because there's been a leapfrog of the information. A lot of people are out here teaching now the correct information. By the way, I would say that the information is much, much better than what it used to be when I got involved in learning about sovereignty many years ago. There's a lot better technology compared to years past. Like, for example, when it comes to discharge, remember years ago, you had to type up a bond or from a computer. You have to put the registered mail number. Now there is some work that's involved. It's different nowadays where there's many different ways people are teaching and sharing information and relaying information. I remember at one time when this information was through word of mouth, where you had to know someone in the city I was in. I had to find out where they were having the classes, and a lot of times they would move to different locations. Sometimes they would originally they were at a hall or activist building, a church, from what I remember, even a nightclub at one time, office buildings, and you it kind of moved around a lot, and it was like on a volunteer type basis in a way, and that was an interesting experience, and it gave me a foundation, but I still had a lot of growing to do. By the way, in case you hear, that's the radio in the background. I am at a school. By the way, that's the school people. In case you're wondering, if you hear the radio in the background, I'm gonna turn it down a bit. But I just wanted to let you all know I'm still here. I want to give you my thoughts and feedbacks on some future events. I also wanted to let you all know I planned on probably doing a video on my other channel. I haven't really grown that channel because I've let you all know, in case you're wondering, there's some people that don't keep up with the updates. And in case you're joining me or have not uh, heard about the updates. That's why you guys hear me mention this. So if it sounds like I'm repeating myself, keep in mind there's always like newbies or people that may have been subscribed to me but they didn't get the notifications because they're subscribed to a lot of other people, and they just might happen to see the notification pop up in the feed and check out my channel, or based on their work schedule they just now may be learning about the information. But just in case you're unaware, this channel right here, I'm no longer able to log into my back office anymore. Just so you all know, once again, I made this announcement numerous times. I have another channel that is my newer channel. It's at Dorsey's Resource 873, at Dorsey's Resource 873. So if you haven't done so, make sure you head over there. Even though I haven't put out any content in a while, just be on standby, because based on how things manifest down the road, we'll see. I will, I plan on putting content over there. I also have a Rumble account. I haven't been active over there as well, but I have been doing a lot of research on things and different topics behind the scenes. And there's a lot of information nowadays. I understand people bombarded by, and in my discipline, focus, I have one friend that his discipline, his main focus is emergency preparedness. The mainstream media will try to put it in a negative light, similar when they call people sovereign citizens. They'll use these umbrella terms to try to discredit people or make these people look crazy. So they'll call people who are into emergency preparedness, they'll say that they're doomsday preppers. They'll use those type of terms to spook people, but it's what it is. It's the term. It's emergency preparedness. You're getting prepared. I've talked to a lot of people personally in professional backgrounds, former coworkers, and they all told me they didn't trust the government. Every last person I talked to, by the way, they all told me that they had some form of skepticism. And at the end of the day, it's up to one to definitely prepare for the worst, hope for the best, because we don't know exactly what's coming. There's a lot of people out there that can try to predict. Now, some things, there's a lot to unpack. I won't try to go into explaining all that. By the way, for those that understand, like when I brought up Cliff High's Webbot report some time ago, and I talked about the entertainer P. Diddy, which you guys I know have heard about. Some people have said they're tired of hearing about it. It's literally ever since the raid last Monday, not this past Monday, but Monday of last week. It's a Diddy video dropping every day. And I had planned on discussing that too, and things are getting a lot worse now. But a lot of information I actually already knew about, and things are coming to pass. And they said this back in November when Cassie filed the lawsuit. If you had your eyeglasses on and you were paying attention, even the mainstream media reported on this. They said that lawsuit was going to open the floodgates, and that there was going to be other lawsuits following that suit, and that sure enough would happen. And they also said, based on the original allegations, because it still took like a day or the following day for Diddy to settle, because they had been in talks behind the scenes, by the way, his Puffy's lawyers and Cassie. So Cassie called his bluff, and once that lawsuit, the docket hit the internet and everything, you had these content creators, influencers who are huge, much bigger than my channel, that do excellent reporting. And I've given shouts out to in the past. This is no clout chasing. I still follow those channels. I think, in my opinion, I like listening to Tisa Tales and Tough News, but I listen to Tisa Tales. She does excellent reporting updates. I mean, she's been keeping her foot on Diddy's neck. I mean, with all the updates, and a lot of the stuff that's just now hitting, we already knew, and it's actually coming to pass. And she kind of said this, that behind the scenes, but because these are still allegations, we have to be fair, because he has not had his day in court. Uh, Sean Diddy Combs, aka Puff Daddy, maintains his innocence. But keep in mind, these are allegations. But I would say it's very damning information has come out if you have read the lawsuits and you've been following what has happened. And some of y'all may say, "Hey, Dorsey, what the heck does this have to do with the reset?" And hey, yeah, and I know some of you are what some of you are saying, and I know some of you all may be wondering why I brought that up in the past when I brought up Cliff High has something called the Webbot Report. If you're familiar with Cliff High, the woo-woo guy, he was, just a little bit of background about him. He was a former computer programmer for Microsoft, very intelligent guy. He reminds me of Doc from the movie Back to the Future, highly intelligent. He likes getting into a lot of esoteric conversations. He has a podcast where he likes talking about the aliens and UFOs and stuff. I don't really get that deep into that. Now, I do discuss that. I have a friend I discuss that type of information with, that's extremely knowledgeable, that will blow a lot of other historians, uh, people away that study eschatology, astrology, forensic science, and things of that sort. Absolutely phenomenal with his knowledge and history, and languages, too, by the way, and things of that sort. I'll discuss some of those types of things, but I don't talk about that publicly, because those things, I've always said, are hard to prove, and then they can also make you appear a certain way. But that's to give you a background about Cliff High. He developed something called the Webbot Report, which is like a form of a supercomputer, or type of computer he has that can predict future outcomes based on the information, the data sets that's gathered from real time. And this was from years ago. He put this together. I heard corporations have technology like this and things, and these this particular computer can, even if it can't exactly predict the exact event or moment, it'll have, how can I put it? It'll give you an idea when the temporal marker sometimes comes out, if there's what they call a Webbot hit, or if there's a prediction that comes to pass. If it doesn't hit it right on the money, it doesn't always do this. It'll give indication, and we'll say, "Oh, that's what that was." Like when Trump first won, he said that November prior to before Trump, when he first won, when he beat Hillary Clinton back in 2016. It didn't give an exact description. Sometimes it gives a description of the future event that's supposed to take place. And the data set said at the time, just giving you guys an example, it said that everybody's going to wake up shocked this particular morning. And we were wondering, he went over to see, if you're familiar with Snippy's channel, JSnip4. I don't know if JSnip4 is still on YouTube. I know he's on Rumble because he's been censored by YouTube. Of course, along with my channel, this channel in particular, I was going into some of the details earlier. By the way, I woke up, well, I got off work May of last year, by the way, and I received an email that my backup channel, which was my smaller channel compared to this channel, was removed by YouTube. They claimed for cyberbullying and harassment. I challenged it. It was difficult because their customer service or filing a complaint is not user friendly. And I don't have deep pockets where I'm able to hire a lawyer like certain YouTubers, or I have connections, 6 degrees of separation, where I know somebody who works for YouTube personally, and I'm not in a protected class where YouTube would exempt my videos like they excuse other people when my content was the equivalent of PG-13, nowhere near rated R or rated X like Little Nas X and some of the other disgusting stuff that they allow. But hey, that's neither here nor there. But rules for thee, but not for me. Just saying, my content, you put out certain information, they pick and choose who the winners and losers are. Some people disagree with me on that, but I beg to differ. YouTube is controlled by the evil criminal cabal. Google is now owned by Alphabet. Alphabet is their parent company. Look up if you're not familiar who Eric Schmidt is. I heard him and Bill Gates actually set up that social credit system in China that they're trying to bring over here, that they're attempting to bring, and they've already implemented to a degree. It's been found in documents, by the way, when Elon took over Twitter. Remember, he released the Twitter files. That was declassified information. I heard they were still upset at him. The FBI even had a profile because he was revealing how the Democratic Party had colluded illegally, criminally with the Biden administration to target conservative bloggers, conservative politicians and channels, and give them credentials and things. This is unheard of, and spying on different people illegally. Remember, Eric Snowden, this is confirmed evidence, under the Obama administration was a major whistleblower, and I saw this reported on, even on our local news station here in Detroit some years ago, Fox 2 News. It was a story they ran with Hugh Perkins, by the way. I was at the car shop getting my car worked on. This was like around a decade ago, over a decade ago, and I remember, because I have a good memory, and I couldn't believe it. They said it was unconstitutional, and this was under Obama. He was still president at the time. They was illegally spying on Americans, and they said this just like this. So I know what I'm talking about. It's very interesting. I hear there's a case that the Supreme Court is looking over that deals with freedom of speech. I've said this time and time again. They have been violating freedom of speech. They've targeted certain YouTubers. They've targeted certain people. They've targeted my channel, others. It's just not fair. It's dirty. And, they have picked, and bullied people for so long. So, if you hear sometimes the frustration in my voice, by the way, that and not just myself that they've done this to, but other YouTubers as well, other influencers, and many have left. And I'm glad there's a lot of people that did behind the scenes. They may not have never commented on my channel, but I did a video that was like in my main feed where I showed alternative or other independent social media platforms to join and get your news and information from. And I did a video not too long ago about this so-called TikTok ban. And keep in mind, that is just a cover. That's actually a draconian authoritarian bill that will allow the government, it will give the government unconstitutional authority to criminally take over the internet in an egregious manner, violate in a very egregious manner, an authoritarian manner. So sites that are independent, it will allow them, if that bill passes, it will allow them to shut down sites that they deem hate speech. And we know hate speech can be construed as speech that they don't agree with. Once again, understand it's rules for thee, but not for me. So it doesn't mean you're necessarily committing hate speech. It could be they don't like something you said, and that's not appropriate. We have strong laws in this country. One of the few countries in the world we have a strong constitution that has been explicitly clear in the language. If our justices have not been compromised, which I hope they haven't, many other justices, not just the Supreme Court, but if they really abide by the rule of law and go by the law, it explicitly states, and our Bill of Rights is clear what freedom of speech is. And I saw a parent come to a event. There was a video that went viral. I don't know the name of this guy, where he was explaining to the school board what freedom of speech is. But these big tech bullies, I call them, have just been criminally just doing what they want to do. And I think there needs to be some regulation. The Supreme Court needs to put their foot down and make it clear that there's clear violations and people who have lost their jobs and things, just like when a judge in New York ruled when it was unconstitutional during a pandemic to force people to be fired if they refused the vaccination. And remember, a judge ruled they had to pay those people back their pay when those lawsuits went through. I think the same thing, if people lost their jobs over freedom of speech or not saying things that was deemed okay, they deserve their jobs back or back pay, some type of compensation. But understand, in our law, our rule of law, it's explicitly clear what freedom of speech is. And just understand that you have to do your own research. I won't say I'm the best or sharpest when it comes to breaking this information down, but I've studied a lot of other channels. I've even watched what some of the mainstream has said. And Fox, by the way, Fox News or different variations, conservative media has put out some very good videos explaining that, where they've interviewed lawyers and experts. And I watch both sides. I pay attention. I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. Technically, I'm not a registered voter. I canceled my voter registration back in 2004, so I don't vote, but I still pay attention. If I was to be involved in politics, I would be considered maybe an independent, a libertarian, or moderate conservative. Just to give you an idea, there are other categories. It's like they force you into a box. And I know people argue that the two heads of the same snake, and I beg to differ to a degree. I think the Democratic Party has been, or the Liberal Party, Liberal Progressive Party has been more compromised. They're being used by the globalists, the ruling class elite, to further push their agenda. Yes, we do have neocons, Republicans, conservatives who are bad people as well, rhinos, Republican in name only. I do get that. But at least they have something called the Freedom Caucus, which is like a third party that is standing up and trying to restore equal balance. And they're not conspiracy theorists. They always like to throw that term out there. And keep in mind, something is not always theory or theoretical. You do have facts. Conspiracy facts are things that take place, by the way. So everything is not theoretical. When you break the words conspiracy theory down, everything is not theoretical. So understand you have to do your research, and that, the mainstream media likes to throw that term out there, by the way, to use that to slander and discredit people when it doesn't fit their narrative, or it doesn't go along with their journalistic teleprompters they have to read from. Because keep in mind, they'll lose their jobs. That's why people check the independent media to find out what everyday people like you or I are thinking, what our thoughts, what our opinions are. Because I'm not paid by George Soros, I'm not paid by MSNBC, I'm not paid by ABC News, so I don't make big money like them. That's why they're happy. They can sit around, they can sell out. Many of them are boule or pledged, so they're in a happy state, because a lot of times they're paid off, and people a lot of times like that, they lose their humanity, and they're not really in the streets like that. They're not 10 toes deep. They're not in the trenches. So you can't take their word for what they say. You have to keep that in mind when you watch these establishment corporate media, by the way.